got to get this arranged. Well, give it a pitch. Thank you for joining me this morning. I have been piddling again. I am one of the best piddlers I know because you know what happened? Well, I'm going to tell you. I told you the other day we checked my mail and there was nothing in the mailbox. Well, day before yesterday, James went to the mailbox for me and there was a stack this high. I mean, this high of mail. And I'm not through it yet. I don't know what happened. It all came at one time. And everything I was looking for was there. I don't know. Strange things happen in this world. We're going to start today on a good note because the Lord is good. And you know what? I'm looking at one of beautiful scene instead of sitting in front of it. I'm talking to y'all and looking at it. And it's got my cat on the sofa. And in the window, there's a tree outside that's got snow on it. And they're saying that snow is coming. And this is November the 7th, 2025. The older you get, the faster it flies. That's the way it goes. It flew pretty. When I was younger, I couldn't wait to be 16. And then I couldn't hardly wait to be 20. Well, now if I'd have stayed at 20, I'd have been fine. But that don't happen. So, Revelation 21:4. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, nor for the former things have passed away. And he who was seated on the throne said, Behold, I am making all things new. He's going to make all things new, and when we get there, we're going to have a new body. And I have been watching some of those YouTube things about that John Burke has done, and of people that went to heaven and came back, and he's sincere, and I about believe it. I really do, because he said when you get to heaven, you're about 30 years old. Well, I looked cute when I was 30 years old. Didn't we all? I mean, when I was 30 years old, well, my waistline, but when I got married at 16, my waist was like 23 inches. I looked like those girls in those Western movies that James watches all the time, that's got a waist like a wasp and beautiful hips, and they have them big skirts on, and they look adorable. One time when I was in home ec, we had home ec. Home ec is home economics, and I had that in high school when I was 14 and 15, 2 years, and I learned how to sew, which was a blessing. So I made me a full skirt. Now the teacher said that's going to be hard. I said I want to do it. I always wanted a full skirt. So I got a pattern and we cut it out and I made that full skirt. Now when I moved to California, I love that full skirt. And I moved to California, I overlooked it and didn't take it with me. Well, I had this little sister 4 years younger, and I had left it at the house accidentally when I moved to town and living with my girlfriend. And don't you know, she inherited my full skirt and she loved it. So that was a good thing. So I'm sitting here in my easy chair, got my feet in treatment, and we have already had an exciting morning. And I'm driving again. Honey, God has restored me. He restores us. And so many of y'all prayed that God said, okay, she's going to hang around a while. So I went out to Lee's Fried Chicken and I got me some chicken livers. I never had to get out of the car, but I'm not so wobbly now. I can walk on my own. But we went walking this morning down at the Y. This happens every year. Now we did our walking, got that done. So James says, honey, did you look for yard sales? I said, James, we go through this every year. I've been married to him almost 16 years. In December it will be. And every year he says, look up on the internet. Used to get it out of the paper. Now they would run them in the paper, but now they don't do that very much anymore. I think they still do, but I don't look in the paper. I look on the internet. So I look for yard sales around New Albany, Clarksville, Jeffersonville, and Charleston, Indiana. And it's not the season. It gets over already. He just does not accept it, because if there's one thing that man loves, it's yard sales. He can't help it. He was that way before I met him. But I liked yard sales too before I met him. So we certainly agree about yard sales most of the time. But in this kind of weather, it's raining today. And we have snow in our forecast. I don't think it's going to be heavy, but let's see. I am prepared. I've got me a big warm coat. I just hate ice. How you like this? This is a furry hat, and it will pull down over my ears and keep the snow off my head. Can't you just see it? This is furry. James found this somewhere and brought it in, and I thought, I'm going to show them my snow cap this morning. It matches my red tie. I do like red. I wear red a lot, and you can wear a white shirt. You know, I buy blouses at the Salvation Army, Goodwill, and yard sales, and then I cut them off like this because floppy arms. When you get up a little bit older, honey, you could almost fly away. Just flap them in, because they almost turn into wings. And we're not angels, but we try to be good. And we try to walk that path where the Lord would be pleased with us. I heard Franklin Graham talking the other day on the television. He's got an ad on television, and he tells people how to pray the Lord's Prayer and ask them to forgive him of their sins, because all of us have sinned and come short of the glory of God. The Bible says so. So I'm getting like some of these preachers when they preach. I spit everywhere. You know, they say some of them can spit 10 foot when they get to preaching. I don't think I can spit that far, but I think it's flopping around. And my nose was running this morning, but it's okay now. Okay. I get carried away. I've always been like that. And I'm notional. And you know what notion? I looked up, I thought notional meant, you just have different notions. But that's not exactly what it means. But that's what it means to me, because I change my mind here, there, and yonder, because I get different notions. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to do it the other way. I'm just full of notionals like that. And I bet some of you girls are too. Us women are kind of that way. We're more notional, or changing our mind a lot than, well, I'm a flipper today, ain't I? So anyway, I just change my mind sometimes. Suddenly, James will say, you said a while ago you was going to do it this other way. And I said, well, I changed my mind. I just thought it over. And I only have to think it over. It don't take me long, because my mind is in a whirl a lot of the time. It really is. So we had fun. We went down to the Methodist thrift store. They're open. They're open winter and summer and fall year round on Friday and Saturday from 10 to 2 o'clock. So we went down there, and I found a book that I'm going to read. Heaven is for real. Heaven is for real. And they made a movie of this. The lady that takes the money down at the store said, and I just opened it up and checked into it. And the guy that wrote this, his daddy was a pastor. And they made the movie. And I'm going to look and see if it's anywhere where I can stream it. And if I can stream it, I may not read it. That's just another notion I got. So I don't know what I'm going to do. But I'm going to have fun, whatever it is, with the help of the Lord, because I'm well and it feels so good. You're so thankful when you've been through a trial and tribulations and you get well and you say, thank you, Jesus. And I can, that don't look too bad. I do try to look my best for you guys and myself, because if you don't look pretty when you uh, pass a mirror, it can be real depressing. I had a girlfriend, she's done gone on to glory. She got Alzheimer's, and I had to help her daughter to get her into a help. So, fact is, I cooked for her for a while because she was just not eating and she was just getting. Fact is, she got so bad that she called me up. She could still call me and talk to me when she was losing her memory. She said, "You know, I need some money. I've run out of cash, and I went to the bank to get some. And do you know, I went there and I could see people in there, but they wouldn't answer the door. And it was like after hours, closing time or something. And I said, Beulah, they're not open. They're not open now. They were probably getting ready to go home. So you'll have to go Monday or whatever, another time." And then her daughter realized what was happening. So I'm wearing my microphone. It works good right here. So anyway, Beulah May she wore wigs like I do. And she wore them a long time because her hair was worse than mine. At least I had some. But what she had now, she had hair too. She had cowlicks everywhere. I mean, she couldn't get a permanent. She almost had to wear wigs. And she wore ugly wigs. And how I found out how bad they were, because, see, when she got married and I got married, we split for years. And I didn't see her. And I re-met her again after Buddy went away and after Floyd was gone away. Yes. And yes, Floyd was gone too. And I walked at the mall for a long time. And I heard somebody hollered at me. And I said, "Who in the world?" And it was Beulah. And Beulah had on this wig that looked like crap. And see, she's 4 years younger than me, and we went to school together. And she was a little girl. She was the same age as my little sister. We caught the bus together. And I rode with her. And I said, "Beulah, you wearing wigs now, right?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "Well, you know what? If you'll let me, I can fix that for you and make it look pretty." Because it was not a cheap wig. She spent money on wigs because they had a lot of cheap wigs back then. They used to sell wigs at the Kmart. At the Kmart. They quit doing that. But I enjoyed it while it lasted. You know, that's another thing I believe about life. Enjoy it while it lasts. And because nothing ends. The Bible says this too shall pass, and everything does eventually. But I said, "Bill May, I tell you what, I was carrying a pocketbook back then. I don't carry a pocketbook anymore. I carry a billfold that's got everything in it, and I won't lose it. Because when I parked my pocketbook somewhere, and I heard a woman, and I had, park it. If you're going to the Walmart, you'll put your bag in that Walmart thing and let it sit there, and it can walk away while you're looking at a blouse or whatever, or grocery shopping. I mean, it can just disappear in an instant. I heard somebody just screaming one day at the Walmart, "Somebody stole my poor purse, somebody stole." It was gone. And that's when I decided that I would not carry a pocketbook anymore because I was bad to do that, to let it sit. So I figured me out another way. I had a different notion there. I got to name this YouTube Notional. And it don't mean the exact thing because it's different. You can look it up. I looked it up and I was disappointed. So I'm going to, okay, Beulah May and I went to the ladies' restroom, and I had a hairbrush in my pocketbook, and I just took her wig out of her head and I just shook it for crazy. See, you take a wig off and you shake it real good, and then you put it on, and then you shape it just like you do your real hair. This is my real hair. I paid for it myself. James didn't buy it. He don't buy stuff like for me. I got my own funds, thank you. See, I'm an independent woman, and it gets me in trouble sometimes with number 3 because he takes care of me and he wants to do everything for me. And I just want to do things myself because I've done it my whole life. Number 1 and number 2, I had to take care of things. And it's so strange to have somebody say, "We're going to do it this way." And I say, "Nah." You say, "Yeah." I let him win sometimes because he's got the better idea. I tell him that sometimes. I said, "Okay, so that's the best idea. I agree with you." But if I hadn't agreed, I don't. We go around and around sometimes. But heaven is for real, and I'm going to check to see if I can see a movie. You know, a lot of times they have on YouTube. And on some of those other places, you can find stuff, a movie. I'm watching a movie right now on YouTube that is so good. And it's about an Indian, it's about a young boy and girl and how they're growing up. And then what I've only watched one thing about YouTube. If you're watching a movie, you can put it on your iPad and you can stop it in the middle, because I cannot sit for an hour and 30 minutes. So I watch my movies in segments. Just like y'all can watch me on YouTube, you can pause me now and catch me later. Fact is, I'm late today because we've been having such fun. And it's so good to be getting around and doing things and driving your own car. And I went out, I drove it yesterday and I drove it today, because yesterday I went to Kentucky Fried Chicken and got me some. I love chicken. And James likes drumsticks. He will eat them. And so I got him a snack and we a snack. And he ate his last night for supper. And he eats the drumsticks and I eat the thighs. It's like Jack Fat was, let's see, Jack Sprat could eat no fat. His wife could eat no lean. So twixt them both, they licked the batter clean. And that's what we do with KFC and Lee's Fried Chicken. We lick the platter clean. You see, there I go being silly again. But I can do that on YouTube with y'all. And this one girl told me she's having to, Pamela is having to put down a cat that is 19 years old. And I had to put one down one time that was 17 years old. Oh, I just remembered something. There's a young man that makes comments all the time. He's blind and autistic. He's 25 years old and he makes comments, and his name is Joshua. And I told him he wants me to do a live show again, but I'm not going to do it. I just don't like them. They're just, it. I just don't care for it. I like doing what I'm doing right now. I'm comfortable. And if I do them others, it just makes me nervous. And let's not get my blood pressure up when it's so perfect. I'm thanking Lord for that. But Joshua, I told him, I said, Joshua, I'll just say, hello there, Joshua. I'm talking to you today, and I'm so glad you make your sweet comments that you do. He said his name is from the Bible, and I told him Lois is from the Bible also. And somehow or other he can communicate. I don't know how he does it. I didn't get into that. But Joshua, I want you to tell me how I know he listens, and I don't think he can see it because he's blind, but he communicates. So bless his heart, and may the Lord bless and keep him, and keep on listening. So have a good day, all of you. My goodness, I've went 17 minutes. And I noticed when I sat down, I checked YouTube subscriptions, and Kentucky Life with Debbie has already done her YouTube. Already, her video already this morning, and it had the strangest name on it. And I don't know what it means. So, is there any of you out there that knows what FRIYAH means? I don't know. I never heard tell of it. What does that mean, Debbie? When I watch you, I'll find out. But I sure don't know. So this might be one of those runaway ones for you, Debbie. You know, she's a school teacher, 75 years old. She loves the Lord, and she shares her life and what's going on, just like I do. And she said about 6 months ago, she said, I feel like I have something to say. Think I'll start me a YouTube channel. I said, go for it. I'll watch you. And I do every day. I watch her all the way through. We're like sisters. We have made such close friendship. And I have good friendship with some of those other girls out there with Chit Chat, Granny Pat. She's a darling. So I can't wait to watch what's going on. I want to wait to see what's going on with Debbie. There's always something going on. Her husband's been sick. He fell. She heard him fall, and listen. And she reads books. Right now, she's reading. Well, she read Pollyanna. I can't remember what one she's on now because I don't listen to her stories. I like her life stuff because I've read most of those books. Her first one was really good, though. Anyhow, she is good reader. I thought I was going to do. I got a notion. which was just my imagination, that I thought, and that's what it turned out to be, that I could read a book. I might read books. That might be fun. I was wrong. So I practiced it. And baloney Maroney, it's not for me. Some got a talent, some don't. I'm one that don't. I can do other things. So I'm happy with what I'm doing. So I told Debbie, go for it, girl. Hang in there. You're doing great. But my practicing showed me pretty quick, pretty quick, that it was not for Grandma Lois. And I enjoy being Grandma Lois to everybody. This morning, well, I ordered, this is another story, a little story that happened in my life. So I've been ordering some more bras off Amazon, and it's a guessing game. Well, before I got sick and had my vertigo and everything, I ordered a bra, and it sounded right, and it was too big. So I'm having to send it back. So I didn't get a chance, but I have till November uh, 22nd or something. You got a long stretch there. And so I had everything arranged to send back. And then I hit the thing where I would return it to, instead of Kohl's, I hit a place that's in Louisville, Amazon return place. You can't return it there, but I took it to Kohl's. That's before I got sick. I've had it for a while, but the run out date is not over. So I called them, and they said I could take it to UPS, and they would take it, and I don't have to have a punch out thing, a sign to return. All of y'all return Amazon, you know what I'm talking about, or most of you do. So I'm well. So we had two packages to return to Amazon, and one was going to have to, this big old bra, straighten them up as them girls up. Sometimes they get out of sorts in some of those bras. They say, I don't like this, mommy. Their boss. James thinks he's boss, but these are boss. So they got to be comfortable or they're unhappy. I don't know how Dolly Parton does that, keeps adding to hers till they big as watermelons. Mine did it on its own. They said, Mommy, I'll grow as big as I want to. You can't stop me. Well, I'm 154 pounds now. Okay, so we went to, there's a UPS store. This may be kind of long, but I do want y'all to know about it. It was fun. James, to get anywhere now, instead of using the rollator, if I got to go to the store like that or something, I just kind of hold on to James, which, in case I feel like I'm going to fall, I've got him and he'll catch me. So he walks with me every place I go. So I said, let's go return those two packages. I have another one I'll tell you about later. Anyway, so we checked on when UPS is open, and this one opens up at 8:30 in the morning. And Kohl's, where I have to I bought me a new scale to weigh myself because the one he got at his rental house that he bought, they moved out, and it was a talking scale, and I loved it. Well, it bit the dust. It went on to scale heaven or wherever they go. It's in the trash can, and we put it in the garbage. We tried everything in the world to get the thing started again because I just loved it. It would tell you weigh 100. That's the one that told me you weigh 163 pounds. And I said, liar, liar, pants on fire. They ain't no way. It wasn't lying. And I managed to get on a eat less diet and get down to 155. Well, I haven't been hungry a lot since I've been sick. So the last time I got on it, it was still working. It said you weigh 152 pounds, and I had lost weight, and I was happy about that. I don't know, that might have killed it. It just says, I'm disappointed. You don't weigh enough. Do you talk to scales? I talk to them, especially when they talk. It's like Sarah. She will answer you and say, good morning and stuff like that. And that AI is crazy. So anyway, it kicked the bucket after that last time. So I said, oh, well, let me tell you about that big old bra. that we had to take to UPS. And the other UPS store don't open till 10. Well, James was cut loose free this morning, and he had time to take me to UPS and to Kohl's. So we went to UPS first, and we went in. And I said, I want to send this back, and I had it on my phone. He said, this don't have a return code on it. I said, how do you get that? He said, I don't know. Here, let me have your phone. He took my phone, and he went, doot, 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 and he says, he says, well, I'm done, and now I'm going to send it to here, and it won't send. Well, this pretty Indian girl, beautiful, with long hair, and she was there too. And I said, well, one time I come in here some time ago, and I had a deal like this, and they said we can't send it, but we can make a copy, and it'll run you $2 or something. And I told them, $2 when it's supposed to be free from back to Amazon, and it's that Amazon says it's free at UPS. He said, well, I said, well, you know what I did when they told me that? Y'all are not the same people, but I'm going to tell you what I told them. Let me think this over. So I went to the car and I called the other UPS store, which is kind of across town. And I called them up and I said, what do you charge for this? He said, we charge nothing. Bring it on over. So I went in back inside the UPS store. And I found out that UPS stores are owned individually. So this is new ownership I'm meeting this morning. And this was an older guy. And I asked him, I said, are you the owner? He said, no. I said, well, where is the owner? He pointed over to that beautiful Indian girl from India. I said, are you from India? She said, yes, I am. She was kind of shy and everything. And so in the meantime, he's working on my phone, trying to, because I told him about that, trying to get it so he can send it, because he wasn't going to charge more. He just couldn't get it done, was his problem. And he works for her. And she comes all the way from India. Her parents are probably very, very wealthy. And I asked her this morning if she was a Christian. And then I told her, well, I was Grandma Lois on YouTube. She grabbed her phone and she was going like this. I said, you can Google me, Grandma Lois. She said, look at that. And she was staring at her phone. She said, that is you. And I told her, I talk about the Lord and my life and what's going on. And I've been doing it a couple of years. She said, there you are. She was amazed. She said, and I showed her all the subscribers I have. And then I said, and I'm on TikTok. You're on TikTok? I mean, she like to fell off of her chair. I said, yes. And I got 56,000 followers on TikTok. Isn't that something? I said, it boggles my mind. I can't figure it out. I really can't. I ain't lying. It's like, of course I'm not lying. I've been listening to some of these preachers and they say this, and I'm about to pick it up. To tell you the truth. Well, we do hope our preachers are telling us the truth, don't we? I heard my pastor say it the other day. To tell you the truth. Well, to tell you the truth, this was an exciting time this morning at the UPS store. She was beautiful. So I didn't see a wedding ring on her hand. I said, are you married? She said, yes. And I said, children? No, because she looked like she's about 22, 23 years old. She looked very young. I should have took a picture of her, but I didn't. And she didn't do a short with me. But I bet she would have if I'd asked her. And I said, you on TikTok too? And she said, yes. I said, join us up on TikTok. And what is your name? She said, my name is Shishka. Shiska. I think I'm pronouncing that right, Shiska. I'm not sure. It's Schiska. It was real pretty the way she said it. And then she had, I said, and your husband, where is he? Is he in India? She said, no, he works in Louisville. And probably, I didn't ask her, they have another UPS store somewhere in Louisville, probably where he's working. And she's working at this one. And she's the boss. And she just went over after the other guy took over to try to get that. And he got it done. And so I thank them profusely for getting that helper, that big old bra, because it turned out to be so big, it was too big for me. And it's gone back to Amazon, and they can refund my. I told James it wasn't that much money, but it'll buy a lot of McDonald's coffee or other stuff at yard sales. So I sent it back, and they were so kind. And so as you're leaving, she says, "Would you like to recommend our store?" She said, "Scan this right here." And it's down on her counter. And I said, "How do you do that? I mean, I'm a little techie, but I'm not that techie." She said, "Here, I'll show you." So she scanned it. And then it says you can take a picture or and give your review. Well, I gave a little review and I said, "This store is fabulous. It's fantastic. They did such a wonderful job for me today." And then it says, "Put a picture of who you are." So she figured all that out. And then I won 11% something or other. I don't know, but we joined up on TikTok, and I have been, oh, I've been so busy this morning, knick-knacking and doing this and that and the other, and going out to Lee's Fried Chicken, and I ate lunch already, and those chicken livers and gizzards. I get half livers and half gizzards. I like gizzards too, and they are doing them good now, and we got them straightened out there. I picked up some that had been redone, and I can tell if they're fresh or not, and they know it. And I tell them, I went to drive up. "This is Grandma Lois," I told them. "You might as well use your seniority when you're a grandma. You might as well. Why not?" I'm not ashamed of being Grandma Lois. I am thrilled that God has let this happen, and He is the one in control, and He goes before us and straightens that path. And when we met that sweet girl at the UPS store, I said, "James, isn't this a most unusual thing that, see, I never go there anymore because of that man was so silly a year or so ago. I hadn't been back. I don't know how long she's been there in charge, but I'm sure glad I did this morning." But see, that's the Lord's leading and direction. He goes before us, and you know, we don't, a lot of times we don't know what we're doing. We just don't. But He helps us, leads, guides, and directs us. The Holy Spirit does. When Jesus went away, He told them, He says, "I'm going to send the Holy Spirit, and He will be your comforter." And of course, I believe in guardian angels. I just know there is, because one time we was traveling, me and my mom and the girls was going out the road to see the mother-in-law, which lived 12 miles out the road, and we were going go visit Mama Baird, Buddy's mom and dad. And my mom was go with me and the girls, and they were about 10 years old. It was summertime. And as I was going down the road, there was a big gravel truck behind us, and it was going too fast, and there was cars coming, and he couldn't get around me, and it was like his truck was out of control, and he was gaining and gaining on me, and it was like he couldn't stop. So there was a place I could get off the road, and I got off and do you know, we said Jesus, I said Jesus, and that truck stopped dead right in the road, in the highway, before it reached us, right, within 20 foot. The driver got out of the truck and stopped, and he came over. He said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yes, what happened?" He said, "My truck was kind of running too fast, and I couldn't do nothing, and suddenly it just stopped, like 900. It stopped." He said, "I don't know if it'll run or not." I said, "Well, that was the Lord, because I thought you was going to kill us." And he said, I didn't have control. That's where my guardian angel, and that happened. And I've told this story before. Some of y'all have heard it in my earlier videos, because I've been doing this for 2 years now. And, I still remember things that happened to me. And my guardian angel put his hand out. And I heard on one of those things that our guardian angels are great big angels. They're not little bitty fellers. They're big. And they take care of us. And if they stopped that big truck, yeah, he got in it and drove away. True story. I'm not lying. It really happened. Well, if it really happens, you remember it and you don't forget it. And things like that happen in your life. It makes an impression on you, people. Believe you me, I thought we was goners. Therefore, it's going to run away, and if I don't get out of its way, it's going to get me. I pulled over quick, and thankful there was room for me to pull. But he stopped. I mean, God stopped it. It's amazing what I have seen the Lord do, and He's still doing it. He's still in the miracle working business. He really is. And we have our guard when we serve the Lord. We have our guardian angels, and I believe there's two of them. I really do. So anyway, I'm going to shut up for today. This is enough, and I've had fun. So we'll talk to you later. And God bless you, and walk that path where Jesus would be pleased with you. Love you. Bye bye.